He wants to tell us another dua. Push them forward when you ask Allah for your need. Mention them, then ask for your need. Allah will grant you. The Prophet said so, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim continued and said, rahimahullah, it also occurs in Sunan al-Tirmidhi, min hadithi Anas ibn Malik, from the hadith of Anas ibn Malik, when a matter becomes difficult for the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. It says, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, oh you absolutely alive. Allah, you are alive, absolutely alive. You are Al-Qayyum. You are the one in charge of the affairs of all your creations. Bi rahmatika astaghith. I ask for help. I ask for support. I ask for assistance from your compassion. Allah is Rahim, Rahman. From your Rahmah, I ask for help. Help me. Ikhwa, this is a big lesson to us. The Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, when he was in difficulty, he called upon Allah. When you come into difficulty, you start looking for Afa Jalabi about. Allah's messenger will call Allah. And Allah guarantees you, Udu'uni astajib lakum. Call on me, I will answer. The Prophet taught us to call him. Then people begin to look for one Afa, one Afa. Don't look for any Afa about. Call on Allah by yourself. Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghith. There is aslih li sha'ni kullah wa la takilni ila nafsi tarfat aynin. It may be long for some of us. Just say Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghith. Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghith. I seek help and support from your mercy and compassion. Where else do we run to? Ikhwa. Who else do we invite? Who else do we invoke? Who else do we ask? If we don't ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anas ibn Malik served the Prophet for 10 years. So he knows what the Prophet says. When a matter became difficult for the Prophet, Ikhwa, note it. If a matter becomes difficult, call, the Prophet would say, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghith. Ya Hayyu, O you who is absolutely alive, Al-Qayyum, you are the one in charge of the affairs of the entirety of creation. Everything, you are in charge of their control, their administration, their arrangements, their creation, their food, their energy, the air they breathe, the water they drink. Everything that happens to them is in your charge. That is Al-Qayyum. Bi rahmatika astaghith. I seek support, help out of your mercy. Show me mercy and compassion. Help me. Ikhwa, when the matter becomes difficult, say Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghith. Many times when a matter becomes difficult, the first thing that comes to the mind of people is the people they can make telephone calls onto. You start thinking of your brother who is a minister. You start thinking of your uncle who is a police officer. You start thinking of your younger brother in the DSS. Those two will be useful. Ikhwa, don't mistake that they will not be useful. But start with Al-Qayyum. Start by shouting Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum. Repeat it repeatedly. And then you think about other means. But don't forget this means. Don't forget that means of Al-Qayyum, Al-Hayyul Qayyum. Say Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghith. When a matter becomes difficult for the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and he was a human being, that we know that Allah has not sent down an angel to us. He was a human being like us. He eats as we eat. He goes to the market. He married. He has a child. He was born as human beings are born by women and of course by men. sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So he has share from the things that happen to human beings. He said, I get annoyed too, as human beings get annoyed. Agdabu kama yagdabun. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, ansa kama tansawn. I also forget as human beings forget. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And it means as human beings find things difficult, he would also, alayhi salatu wasalam, sometimes find things difficult. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He would say, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghith. Don't forget, like we have been saying, this does not prevent us from now following the means. We'll come back to this in greater details in this book. The fact that we make dua, we call upon Allah, does not mean if we are hungry, you should not eat food. If you have paracetamol, don't drink it. This is not what it means. It just means that you start with Allah. Because if you can take the paracetamol and you don't find an effect, you can eat the food, instead of being beneficial, it becomes a means of trouble. So start with the one subhanahu wa ta'ala in charge of all affairs. Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghith, subhanahu wa ta'ala.